The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. This is Lowe's Moore, back with you again on another Sunday evening. I hope that you woke up this morning. It was a little cloudy this morning, but I hope you woke up this morning, man, and you got it in early. Because if you waited late, boy, it poured down raining on yesterday and today. But, we got out, got to church, did some things, and then got back into the house. But in time to see some of the Olympic Games, I mean, I don't know about you guys, man, but I am really excited about the Olympic Games and all the things that are going on over there in Paris, man. I mean, and let me tell you real quick why I'm excited. And, the people that you see, even when you talk about announcers, people announcing the game, people, all the people, media people, man, those are individuals that put in time, develop their craft, right? Develop their skills, right? So that they can ultimately become a professional. And somewhere down the line through their professionalism and also their experience, they had the opportunities to be able to announce, cover the Olympics, so forth and so on. It's just a privilege to be able to do it. I'm thinking now that the Olympics are going to be in California, right? They're going to be in California 4 years from now. And so I'm making a goal, making a plan like, hey, man, we're going to be in Los Angeles. I know it's going to be crazy, right, to be in Los Angeles for the 2028 Olympics, because I've never actually been to an Olympics, right? And man, so many, it takes, you hear so many stories. Like I heard an announcer the other day said, I always dreamed that I was going to be an announcer and that I was going to announce for the Olympics one day. Or I was going to announce for NFL football, Major League Baseball. That I would, and you think about when you're young, when you're young and you see something, the kind of impression that something happens to you or happens on you, that you like, man, you was thinking about that back then, and then you worked hard and brought it into existence. I mean, that's a powerful thing. And it's crazy, man, to see so many athletes, putting aside winning and losing. I mean, hey, it's competition. Somebody gonna win, somebody's gonna lose, right? But putting that aside, right? Let's think about for a moment all the people that you're watching, whether they are shooting a gun, doing archery, rowing a boat, diving, gymnastics, basketball. I was watching badminton the other day and thinking how amazing. That's not the way I played badminton. I mean, that's, I hadn't played badminton or table tennis. That's not how I played table tennis. I mean, these people are hitting that ball 100 miles an hour. I mean, you think about the basketball players, both male and female. You think about the track athletes and gymnasts. Man, just think about the kind of time and energy and dedication that it takes for someone, right, to make their Olympic team for their country. And every time I watch it, right, I like basketball, of course. I like swimming, I like track. but I'm thinking like to watch everything, to get a glimpse of everything, to think about how hard people actually work and the years and time and dedication they put in to become successful, to make their Olympic team, and then to go back home and be a professional in what they do. I mean, it's just awesome, man, to see so many people who are out there reaching the pinnacle of their life and career. And so I just want to start that out.
Can we shout out Team Nigeria women's basketball team?
Yeah, Nigeria women's basketball team. They qualify, right?
First time ever.
First time ever.
Team, male or female.
Male or female qualified, and we happen to know the coach of the team who coached last year with Stony Brook and now will be an assistant coach at Tulane, right? I mean, her stock is going to rise. I mean, you turn around the Nigerian team, man, it's just an awesome thing. And we got Mount Vernon's going to be in the house on tomorrow.
Yes.
Rye Benjamin in the 400.
Yes, shout out Rye.
Rye Benjamin, Mount Vernon, New York. He's going to be in it. We got a number of people that are over in Paris now, taking all that in, and just what I can't say enough about.
What about that 100 meter today?
Oh, the 100 meter, man! It was like a photo finish. And fortunate for us, with Americans came out on the positive side of that. But I'm enjoying every moment of the Olympics this year. It's just Simone Biles. What can I say?
Yeah, but then I showed you Olga Korbut, Nadia Comaneci, and Dominique Dawes.
Yeah, it's so many people, and this is what if I can put this in perspective. I mean, Olympics is totally different than the Olympics in 1940, 50, whatever it is. I put this in perspective, right? When I got a full scholarship to West Virginia University, right, and in my locker room there was no carpet on the floor. Right, wasn't no WVU carpet on the floor. It was just a blank floor. They didn't even paint that joint. I mean, and I went to they showed me my locker, and it was a gated locker, right, with a little wooden box at the bottom. You take the lock off, and you throw your shoes in, your valuables in, and you lock it back up. No fanfare on the wall. Wasn't even playing blue and gold on the wall, and I went back. For an alumni event, and they had just built a $35 million practice facility. Right. And so they were showing me the facility. We go into the locker room, all the former players who made it to the NBA jerseys on the wall. And I walked through, and the plush carpet on the floor. They had the game room, snack room, weight room. I mean, you can go in there and get drinks, and
they had water therapy, right?
Yeah, they had water therapy. I mean, it was crazy. So then I go in the locker room, and in the locker area, they had a recliner in front of their locker, right? And they had these fancy lockers, and they had a hologram of the player that was he's sitting in front of seeing a hologram and a television right next to it. And I was like, what? When I was thinking about that little wooden lock I had, and then I turned around, it was some guys came in who were players going to be playing this year, and they introduced me, hey, this Lowesmore used to play here, so forth and so on. And I said to them, thank you, say thank you to me. Say thank you to me, because, hey, if it was no me, no Jerry West, no Hot Rod Huntley, no former players, man, and us doing our job, winning games, becoming successful, drawing crowds, right? You would never be able to have this $35 million practice facility where you could come into the gym 24 hours a day, every day. Right, that's to put it in perspective. So think about Olympics when Olga Korbut, right, and all the other athletes in the past right? And how they came in and what's going on now, how amazing it is. So, yeah, but I still love the Olympics, man. I'm glad to be a person who opened the door, right? That somebody else could walk on that floor, right? So let me drop this ball. This is my pebble in the pond.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it now, right? Expecting the ripple effect, man. Tonight we're gonna have a good time, and let's get rolling. I got my books. I got some books of the week, right? Let's check out the. I got more than one books of the week. They're on the same sheet, but man, if you're looking to grow, right? I know we all watching the Olympics, man. I'm sure people sitting around thinking like, oh man, in my sphere of influence, man, I could be like an Olympic star. You know, I can grow to be great in my sphere of influence. And one of the ways to do it is you gotta study, you gotta research, you gotta figure out what it is, what kind of attitude, mindset do I have to develop in order to be great. And so here's two books, right? One of them, and then one is also a book and also a movie. So you can check it out on YouTube. It's called Think and Grow Rich, right? The Legacy, right? And then the second one is, right, is Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice. Okay. So they did a whole new book for Think and Grow Rich, because the focus of Think and Grow Rich was that Napoleon Hill, when he first wrote the book, interviewed about 500 people who were successful. And he diagrams how they became successful, what their mindset was, how they overcome obstacles, so forth and so on. And then it showed their growth from that point on, how they overcome things to become wealthy. And same thing here, the Black Choice is that these are African American people. These are black people who had same struggles, who overcame things to become rich or to become wealthy, right? It pulls black folks that struggled, figured out ideas, invented stuff, started businesses, and they became successful. So Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy, and Think and Grow Rich, the Black Choice. Those are my books of the week. And here's the word of the week. The word of the week is think, right? I mean, I'll say this. Whoever controls the way you think controls you, right? Learn to think for yourself, right? Because thinking is so key, right? That's my word of the week, man, because you got to have the right mindset. You got to be thinking and going in the right direction. So that's my word of the week. And here's my affirmation. Hopefully it's close enough I can read it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite guys, man. Bob Proctor here, and this is my Hill and Pierce Harper affirmation moment. And it says, I choose to dwell in the universe of abundance, right? That's all just talking about thinking, right? Right? This is a mindset. You know, I choose abundance, right? And it says, with every breath I breathe in love and abundance. With every breath, I'm going to show love and I'm going to breathe in abundance. Today, I recognize the abundance that surrounds me. Abundance is all around you, right? And when you think like that, because some people think, man, bad things all around me, man. Man, bad things always happen to me, right? If that's your mindset, you need to change your mindset and you need to speak this every day. Abundance is all around me. It surrounds me. Abundance does. It says, I meet limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. Wow. Right? I like that. It says, as I focus on abundance, my fear of not having enough recedes. I like that.
Say that again.
As I focus on abundance, my fear of having not having enough recedes. It means it retracts, right? And then I'm thinking abundance, and it will come in. It says, my true self is a magnet for good, right? I draw good. Nice. I draw good people. I draw good things, right? And then here's the final one. What I appreciate appreciates.
Say that again.
What I appreciate appreciates.
Ooh, that's good.
Right? Whatever I appreciate is going to grow.
Yes.
Right? I like that. So that's my affirmation quote moment. And then here's my music and movie of the week.
Some telling me I can probably guess this one.
Nah, Lecrae. Yeah. Stop the Music. And the other one, Do I Believe? Do I Still Believe? Right? And then a movie that's coming out, I'm projecting now. A movie that's coming out, The Forge. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
So you know what movie I thought you were going to do?
What's that?
I can't remember the name of it, but when I explain it to you, you're going to remember. Remember that movie where, because you were just talking about thinking positive, so remember that movie where the guy had, the guy had been friends with the lady's husband, and they were in a plane crash together?
Oh, yeah, The Secret.
The Secret.
Yeah.
Right, because remember how he was talking about, thinking positive and like what you think is what you are. So when negative things are happening, she was bringing.
Oh, you thought I was going to do that one?
That's what I thought, because that was a good movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie, and it was all focused on the law of attraction, right? And again, this is the same thing here, man. What you think about, right? What you think about all the time is what you ultimately become. Right, you attract those things. You like it's saying here. Bob Proctor saying you can attract abundance. Right. I always say this: faith and fear always draws. They always attract. Faith and fear. Fear attracts the negative, and faith attracts the positive. Right. So which one are you in? Are you drawing fear? Or are you drawing faith? Right, I like that. And then here's my person of the week, Lawrence Fishburne. Man, everybody know. Anybody got a favorite movie of Lawrence Fishburne? Cornbread Earl and Me. Yeah. Let me say this to you real quick, because we got to move on. Right, I watched Cornbread Earl and Me when I was a young kid, probably even before high school was out. And I think Lawrence Fishburne was like 12 years old. Right? You remember the movie? They shot Cornbread. They shot Cornbread. All he had was an orange soda pop. He said,
everybody in the theater is crying.
Yeah, everybody's crying, and he was on his way to college, UCLA, to play basketball. He was like a legend in the town, and he was just a good guy. Right, and he was running across the street in the rain, and the police officer tried to stop him. He couldn't hear him because he had his little earphones in his thing. He was running, and then they started shooting him because they thought the soda pop was a gun. And Lawrence Fishburne was like, "They shot Cornbread. They shot Cornbread." And I gotta say this to you real quick, because one time I was working in a jewelry store. In high school, I was on my way to college. I used to help out a friend, may he rest in peace, Rossin Lester. And I used to go down to the jewelry store, and I used to work there during the summer whenever his partner would go away. I go help him out. So, of course, I'm a black guy. He's a white guy, and he owns the store. And he had to go for a dentist appointment one morning. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, I got to go for a dentist appointment in the morning. My wife is going to be there. She's going to let you in, put the jewelry out." And so I'm in there. Back in the day, as rope chains. You had the rope chains on. Everybody had the gold rope chains. And I didn't have a gold rope chain. I couldn't afford a chain at that time. But, I'm taking them out the box, and I'm putting them up on the display thing. I'm just putting them up. And all of a sudden, I hear people running, right? And those big metal things down, where you go down in the ground on the avenues and stuff like that? Yeah. And I heard him hit, a bunch of feet hit, boom, 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 boom. And I look, and I see people running by. I see them run by. And then I hear his wife say to the people, when I turn to look again, his wife is like, "Don't shoot." So, like, I'm up, like I'm taking the jewelry, right? When I'm really putting the jewelry up. And I look, and there's 3 cops on their knees and 2 cops over them with their gun pointed at me, right? And they was like, "Don't move." I was like, ha. I died behind the counter. I was not listening to him. This is not a cornbread and Earl me story. I am going to college. I just thought I had to get that one in, right? I had to get in there. Lawrence Fishburne, man.
Lawrence Fishburne gave you PTSD.
Yeah, he did. Morpheus.
Yes. Oh, Morpheus. That's
The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Yeah. He has a lot of them. Hey, put in there if you got a favorite Lawrence Fishburne movie. Put it in there. Let's get rolling here. Anything else?
Yeah. You got a couple of birthday shout outs.
Oh, I got some birthdays.
Yeah, got a birthday shout out.
Okay, let me hear it. To my niece, Tamika TT, happy birthday. Love you. Awesome. Michael, happy birthday. Right? Man, I'm getting older. You know these guys.
He said, I can't. But, you're not supposed to tell the ages anymore.
No, you don't tell the age.
But that's our godson.
Godson Michael, my sister's son, and her husband Randy.
Yes.
Yeah. Any more? Oh, coming soon. Like next week, we got Tony Centron. Man, Tony, man, I know we go way back. Go way back in Mount Vernon, man. He's a drummer, percussionist, and man, Tony has recorded with some of the amazing. We're gonna hear it next week. Some of the most amazing artists, instrumental artists. Hey, I think we're gonna see him on Thursday. He's gonna be out at Lincoln Center, and we're gonna see him. He's gonna be drumming out there, and we're gonna check him out. But he's gonna be on the show next Sunday, right? And then also, right, the following Sunday on August 18th, we got Jeff Dixon. Jeff grew up in the boys club, manager for Ludacris, right, and a bunch of other artists he has out there. He's going to be on the show on the 18th, man. It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah.
Those are you know what? That's why people can't sleep on Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
These are some Mount Vernon folks.
Yeah, and down the street from the boys club, Luda, right? He was Chris Bridges.
His father.
Yeah, his father was a boys club member that I looked up to when I was growing up, and after that he moved down to Atlanta, and the rest is history. And Jeff and Chris just stayed real close, and now they manage Luda. So looking forward to that. So I think if we could show this video, and we're gonna get rolling.
Didi Oaks. He's like, tell it. I said, that's right, Didi. You know Mount Vernon got it going on. If you from the Vernon, money earning Mount Vernon, they talk about us so bad. But we got some.
All right, well, watch the Olympics. We'll be on tomorrow.
Yes, we will. We'll be representing with Rod Benjamin.
Rod Benjamin.
That's right. All right, so we're going to go, you said, to a video. Okay, so let's hit us up.
Mama telling me that she proud. I'm trying to show her life could be so much more. See what's in store. You got every right to go and get what you go deserve. That's what I'm feeling like. Keep on chasing your dreams and they all seem like dreaming dreams up on my mind. I'ma be a star, watch for the they all sing like passion in my eyes. I will never stop till I get it right. I'm still dreaming dreams up on my mind. I'ma be a star, watch for the light. I'm still screaming passion in my eyes. I will never stop till I get it right. Yeah, don't stop, you know what I'm saying? Can't stop, won't stop, never. 24 years in. Prince.
All right, we got Ameer, we got Prince.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
Great song choice. I love it.
Yeah, it looked like you got that little logo there. Looked like you got a little Soul Train thing on. Soul Train.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's actually from a anime. I'm not sure if y'all in tune with anime, but it's like a character I edited it up.
Oh yeah, definitely. I gotta introduce you to Ameer. You right? Jameer.
Jameer. Yes,
You
I got it.
Amir. He's Jameer.
Yeah, Amir. Okay,
Right?
that's cool.
Yeah. He's in college right now. Going to be a senior, right? Going to be senior down in North Carolina.
Mm.
And like yourself, we were talking, man. He wanted to be a ball player. Since I mean, earlier we were talking about being a ball player. He wanted to be a ball player, and I mean he was okay, you know. And finally, I think he just realized, like, hey, man, I need to just go to school. I need to work hard, right? And he went on to school doing his thing, and ended up being the president of the student government
Oh,
as
wow,
a sophomore,
that's beautiful.
right? And then right after that, man, he created a video game,
Oh, that's dope.
right? So now he created this video game. I had him on the podcast, and he was doing probably about what 25,000. Yeah, I think he probably doing now what 2 3 years later. Probably I was talking to him at the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said he got like 30 40 workers. I mean, doing crazy things financially. He's got like 8 games now.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What was the first game called, if you remember or recall?
Man, I don't remember.
Nah, but that's really dope.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, today you got opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
100%.
yeah, yeah. So, and let me say to the audience, like Amir, the Prince. I call him the Prince. You know, we go way back. He was a little guy in
Yeah, that's
Emmanuel
how.
Pentecostal Faith Temple, where my wife and I we were elders at the time, members of the church as well. His mom, his mom and them were members, of the Church of Emmanuel. And
Mhm.
growing up, man, Amir wasn't the most talkative guy, man. And
Changed a little bit.
yeah, yeah, and I used to always ask the kid, "Hey, man, what do you want to be when you grow up, man? What do you want to do, man? What's going on?" And of course, young people at that particular time didn't do a whole lot of talking, right? So, but talk a little bit about right that experience, that time growing up. As a young kid, your mom. Talk about family. Talking about growing up at that time. Talking about some of the things your mom was, stressing to you in regards to faith and in regards to the importance of education at that particular time. Talk a little bit about how you felt, because sometimes we don't know what young people feel, until later on in life. They like 30. They're like, man, I don't even know why you were taking me to the church. I don't know why you was doing this. So talk about that experience and how you think it benefited you.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys heard him earlier, I also grew up in Mount Vernon as well. I'm a Bronx and Mount Vernon baby is what I call it. But I was uptown in Mount Vernon. Went to Emmanuel as well. Spent a good chunk of my life there. My mom definitely stressed, me going to church, which is fine. Do have that relationship with God, thanks to her. So, I thank her for, at least instilling that in me, as much as she could, until I'm older and I got things to do. But I always make sure to keep my relationship with God regardless, in regards to that. And even education too. My mom stressed me going to college. I wanted to go to college regardless, it was something I genuinely wanted to do. And I ended up going to SUNY Albany, upstate. Leaving the city and going up to Albany for the 4 years I was up there. But it definitely changed me. For I think in a good way. Definitely it helped me grow. I definitely was a little more quiet back then. Once I was comfortable with you, I was super talkative, but I was a little shelled in, definitely as a kid or when I was younger. So um, me just being able to have that time for myself once I branched out, I was able to grow more into the person I am today and, learn who I was and, like you said earlier, thinking and thinking for myself. So, just being able to apply that to my own life, and, I think definitely influenced me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Look, we good with the sound and everything, trees.
Yes.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, so you ended up you went to high school where?
I went to I went to, so if you know Lehman High School, like the campus in the
Hmm.
Bronx, the square. I went to this school because there's a bunch of schools inside of the campus. There's
Okay.
about like 6, 7 schools inside of the big campus. So I went to Pelham Lab High School. Um, I went there on their first year opening, so everybody was a fresh new student when I joined in ninth grade. And I was obviously the first graduating class because I was the first person, one of the first classmates of that school. So I went there for 4 years. It was decent. It's your typical Bronx high school, if I'm honest. But did develop certain relationships here and there. But I do feel like college was the biggest turning point for me. I personally didn't like high school too much. That's just a personal thing for me. You know what I'm saying? But I think I really found my people when I went to college. So I was grateful for that. But yeah, but it was definitely went to Pelham Lab, um, starting to learn, slowly who I was, amongst all the noise and all the, things around me, and then finally kind of getting a little bit more of a confirmation once I went to college, I believe. But yeah, so I guess I could say.
And you said confirmation. What was the confirmation, and as you
Um,
went to college?
just realizing like what I can do and like I guess the power I have, and I guess in how I express myself and who I am as a person or just like my general personality. Um, yeah, I grew more into who I was and stopped being so shy and really making myself known in certain rooms and such things like that. Sometimes I'm to myself, but I always make it known like, hey, this is who I am and what I do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do college. College really helped me grow out of my shell.
Yeah, nice. And talk about what it's like to grow up. Talk about your mom and family and growing up when you were younger. What was your thought process in terms of your family experience growing up? As a young
Um,
man.
Yeah, I mean, family has always been a big thing for me, especially when I was younger. I've always been around family. I've lived with my mom and there was a point where I was living with all my cousins all together, for a couple of years in Mount Vernon. But I lived with my mom most of my life, and she's definitely a staple. She's always been riding for me, in any way she possibly could. I have a really crazy. If people don't know my story, I grew up when I was born. The doctors told me I wasn't going to survive. I had all types of issues and medical issues. I had asthma, I had eczema, I had crazy food allergies. So it was just a lot going on with me. I used to have seizures as a baby. So I've come from a lot. So my mom takes a lot of pride in that, and thanks God on the regular on for my life. So my family is always here to support me in my endeavors, and I definitely appreciate it. And it's definitely influenced me and shown me I have a support system. So I'm very grateful to that, grateful to God for the family that I have. And they still continue to stick by me today. So I'm very
Yeah.
grateful.
And so when you going through that process, like growing up and start thinking, when did you start thinking about college, and when you would thinking about higher education, and what were you thinking about? Did you have an idea about what it is that you wanted to do? As you were growing up, like I was saying to you earlier,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to play basketball. So, then I wanted to, if I couldn't play basketball, I wanted to get into art. Right. If
Yes.
I couldn't play basketball, I wanted to be an artist. So talk about that. What were you thinking about? Because people ask you, I'm sure, growing up, elementary school, middle school, hey, what do you want to be? What are you going to do when you get out of school? Those things.
Yeah, so it's really funny. So I wanted to go the basketball route myself, at least when I was younger. Like I want to say like early high school. I thought I had it. I was tried out for the team. I played for my middle school team, and I tried out for the high school team. Didn't make it, but I got dabbled here and there. I was like a point guard, shooting guard, but I guess I didn't have the right IQ for point guard. I was a decent shooting guard, and I had good promise, good speed, good defense, but it wasn't all there for me. But so I didn't know how much that was going to take me anywhere. But I started thinking about college around 11th, 12th grade, I believe. I started taking some college classes at Hostos Community College. They gave high
Mm.
school students the opportunity to take like a college class for one part of the year. So I got that opportunity. I signed up and I started taking a sociology class for the first time. I've never heard of sociology, knew what that was. I just thought it was cool because I was always this guy who was concerned about the world and things like that. Want my whole thing was like I want to change the world, make it a better place, stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. And in taking that class, it opened my eyes a little bit to what was really going on around me and how, I just thought it was really dope to look into that. And I just thought that was really important. I feel like we all have a role in society. And that if we, were able to stick to those roles and achieve those roles, we could help make not only our own lives better, but the world around us, you know what I'm saying, which I think is important. So that led me into going into college, and my first major was a sociology major. So that influenced my decision a little bit. And I had a few college choices. I wanted to go. I actually wanted to go to St. John's. That was like my first choice. I got accepted, but yeah, they were asking for a little too much money that we just did not have. Yes, and I got some scholarships here and there, but it just didn't help. It's a little too much. So my second choice was Albany. I was still very grateful, to go there. I had a lot of friends who from my high school who went there as well, so I wasn't like completely alone. I had at least like 4 or 5 people I knew from my high school who went to the same college. So, I had people around me, starting off, and that's not always everyone's story going to college. So was grateful for that. But I'm trying to think what else I could say. Yeah, those are basically like my beginning thoughts going into college. And yeah, that might be it.
And then what? I mean, did you stay with sociology?
No, no. So I didn't. I took it for 2 years. And like I said, music. Why? Actually, I haven't even talked on this yet, but music is like my biggest passion. It was either going to be music or basketball at the time. I thought it was basketball, and I realized I wasn't going to be the next J.R. Smith or Iman Shumpert. It wasn't going to be. It was like my favorite players at the time. But music was always something I was doing, and behind the scenes, I started making music my last year of high school in 12th grade. Put out my first mixtape on SoundCloud, and just kind of saw myself developing from there. So um, once I really got serious about music, that was when I changed my major to music, and I minored in creative writing because I wanted to get better at my pen. Because I'm also not only a musician, I'm a writer as well. So that goes along with my poetry. So that ended up becoming my major for the rest of my college, career to get my bachelor's. I graduated with arts and science, major in music, and a minor in creative writing. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I had the pleasure. My wife and I, we were both honored on yesterday, and we got a chance to hear some of your poetry. I mean, you mentioned that you don't do poetry all that much anymore.
Yeah, not as much. I need to do a little more, but I gotta make time. But it always feels good to come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what we heard yesterday, I mean, was just was powerful. I mean, I don't know if you. I mean, I don't know if you got something for us, man, because the poetry was good, man.
A little
You got something
something.
you want to share with us? Yeah.
I could do a little something. I guess I could do one of the poems from I did the yesterday. If you guys don't mind, I wasn't super prepped to do a poem today, but I can still do it for you. It's not a super big issue. Yeah, cool. All right, so I'll share a short poem with y'all real quick. So this poem is called "The Embers of My Soul." I performed this piece along with 2 other pieces yesterday. I'm just going to share this one. But as I talk more, it basically is just poem on my passion for what I do and what I love. I speak very true to that, and I continue to and hope to continue to stay true to that. But yeah, I'll perform it for you guys right now.
Okay.
You see, I know in my soul that I'm better than this. You see, I only saw sparks, but I saw fire as far as a passion when I look in the mirror from just my eyes alone. Cause my soul would burn the whole world down if I ain't trap me in this flesh cage where I break breaths down with vocal sound and give you fresh waves for y'all to ride on, man. I swear I've been free surfing on the internet for YouTube beats since 2016. You see, I've been free writing in my job before I could touch a wheel, yet alone have people down for the ride. You see, I've been doing this dolo for a while. It's a battle with me, myself, and I, and that's because I know where I reside, and that's on top, with my crown held high. You see, I know what it's like to be a diamond in the rough. I know what it's like to be rich off this creativity and this art, but still being broke to fall enough back into the crowd of simplicity and fade away. But I'm not trying to fade away. And don't get me wrong, because I ain't the only one destined for greatness. You see, I know everybody here is, but I know what I could tap into. And I know it could change lives and rearrange mentals and have people losing their minds when I touch pencils. You see, I know I have what it takes for you to love me. I know I have what it takes for me to love me. You see, I'm a burning desire that can't be put out. My love for music, poetry, and art is unmatched. You see, you bring back that 17-year-old kid writing 3 songs and 2 poems a day, he'll dust your whole team. True say. You see, I know him and me. We one and the same, though. He probably looked back and said, hey, give me that nod of respect like you finally did it, man. Finally transform into a whole me. The me that I'm supposed to be. So just wait. Because the embers of my soul will continue to blaze and burn through any endeavors made to stop me, made against me, made to put me on the sensi. Diamonds thrive under pressure. And as a force of fire, I'll burn brighter and brighter and brighter until my soul finally reaches its core. And yeah, so that's the piece. The embers of my soul, just showing the stuff, fiery passion that I got for what I do. But yeah,
No,
I
no,
appreciate
no.
it.
No, that's good, man. Definitely, that's good. So,
Thank you, thank you.
and and so you end up graduating in the music and the creative writing, right? And so, what are you thinking coming out? What am I going to do with this? What are you thinking about on your way as you graduate and think about what your journey will be next? What the next chapter will be?
Yeah, so when I graduated, it was a very strange time when I graduated. It was around COVID time, so COVID times were, not the best time for, especially for the arts. It was a little hard for us creatives out here. But I had a lot of plans. I was just finishing off a vocal class. I had just come off of a show. I was a part of a group in Albany called Phenomenal Voices. So we do shows once a semester with poetry, singing, and rapping. So all types of arts, and we did those once a semester. Packed about 100, 200 people in there. So I already had some show experience. So my goal was, all right, I'm gonna get back to New York, in the city, and I'm gonna, get on my journey, do some shows, and things like that. I just COVID. I think they just lifted the ban. I believe it was May of 2021 that I graduated. So I think the ban was lifted. I did my graduation. It wasn't a typical, but I did good to go in person and graduate and walk. Thankfully, which was great. And so my first steps were let me go do some shows. I ended up joining a group called We Are Five about a couple months or later that year, actually. The end of 2021 was when I joined this group called We Are Five, which kind of introduced me into being able to perform and do shows and even put on my own shows and work with other people outside of, because even though I was in college and, performing, that still is a small bubble compared to like being around the city and, actively, pushing your art. So it was a cool transition. I felt I was prepared for it though with everything I had done in college, and I think it was a pretty smooth transition. I was a part of the group, ended up becoming the artist manager for a brief time for the group because it was a group of artists. Um, and we were doing shows either once a month or once every 2 months. We put out music here and there as well. Yeah, it just introduced me to what the scene was like and how it was like to be an active artist. So it was really cool. And I still plan to do this. I actually was talking to you about this when we were at the event, the gala yesterday. But I do plan to put out a poetry book. I would love to. I do a lot of things, so sometimes balancing can be a little difficult. But I do want to put out a poetry book one day very soon. I'm working on it little by little as we speak. So I'm hoping for 2025, maybe. But yeah, I just want to be able to give people all sides of me. I have a lot of things I like to do, and I just want to be able to express all of that in any way I can.
Yeah, I remember Tree's father has a poetry book. He did a lot of wonderful things back in the day, and yeah, I mean the kids kind of grew up on some of Poppy's Poppy's poetry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the spoken word. I think poetry is so important today, and yeah, do the book. Don't yeah, just do it. The opportunities are available to do it, and yeah, Treese got a book out. I have a book out. She got a book out,
That's
right?
nice.
Yeah, figure out. Ask one of us how to get the book out. Let's
For
get it
sure.
done.
We'll have a conversation after this for sure about definitely. But yeah, it's something that I feel is very important to me. I have friends as well who are authors and who have written poetry books. So it's funny because I dabble in both. So my poet friends will see me doing the music and doing the show, and they be like, "Hey man, you're doing great, but where the poetry at? Like where the spoken word?" And I'm like, I know, I got to get back on. So yeah, it's just a good reminder that to um, show love to everything you do, and poetry is definitely a big love for me, and I want to still express myself in that way. So I definitely plan on getting that done.
Yeah. So why Prince inspiration?
Great question. Okay, so
I mean,
Prince
what drove you to
that way.
that?
Yeah, I've had this name since I was like 13, which is funny, but people didn't call me it like back then. But I created the name when I was 13. It was just a little username on a little social media account. But Prince, my name Amir means prince. It means prince or leader or royalty. So that's where I got Prince from, and the inspiration thing kind of came from I enjoy really helping people. I enjoy inspiring people. And having being I guess someone that people could look up to, or so I admired that as a kid. I liked the word inspiration when I first heard of it, and just realizing what it meant, and I just felt it directly connected to my character and who I was. And so that name kind of always stuck. And so when I got into music when I was 16, 17, I said I was going to go with that name, and it hasn't changed. It's been altered and added on. I have a bunch of names and alter egos and stuff, but Prince Inspiration is something that's always been true to who I am. Even about a decade later since I made the name, it's still who I am. So just being I guess a leader of being who I am, and I like I always say, I make music and art to inspire myself in hopes that it inspires others. I used to say I make it for others, but I do feel it's important to make things for yourself as well, but with good intention and understanding of what it can do. So I make it for myself so that other people can use that to help themselves as well. And whatever I might be putting out, whether it's a poem or a song or whatever it might be. So that's my whole thought process with my name.
Right. And I of course a lot of times I told you a little bit earlier that a number of people that get on the Blueprint podcast, probably people have gone on to be successful, still driving to continue to be successful, and they're doing their thing. And but talk a little bit about how you feel from a young person's perspective on, because we had talked a little bit about earlier, things that you think about in regards to this, what's going on in society. And you had mentioned earlier, dealing with social justice. Talk a little bit about what what you feel about the direction the world is, because in one of uh, the poems that I was listening to that you did, you said you want to change the world, right? And what needs to be changed from your perspective?
Yeah, it's really funny. So that poem, very, very important piece, by the way. I also thank you for mentioning it earlier as well. But my thought process has changed a bit since that poem. It's been about 5 years since I made that poem, but there are definitely things that are ring true. I do care very much about society, and just I recognize the problems and the issues that happen in our general society and how it affects us. So, like racism, like corrupt politics, like I guess like the negatives of social media. I still talk about that in my poetry, by the way, as well. But the negatives of social media, the even in regards to like drug usage and just how it can negatively affect you or lead you down a wrong path. I talked about those things, and those are important. And I guess as a young person, it might come off guard to certain people, but I've always had this strong passion for just wanting to help people. And so I feel like you have to, in order to help others, you got to help yourself. Make sure you're knowledgeable, you're understanding of what's going on around you, so that once you're knowledgeable, you can to address these certain issues. Um, I'm trying to think, but yeah, that kind of was my thought process with that, and it still rings true. I do deeply care about our people. A lot of it was speaking on our people, as in the Black people, being an African American in America, and what that really means, and the problems we face or the choices we face. Like you mentioned the line earlier about the basketball line, in the sense of how I feel like sometimes our people, or at least Black men in general, like we're put into like two categories if nothing else works out. It's either like basketball or we go pick up a mic. And not to say like I felt like I only had two choices. I do music and arts because it's genuinely my passion above everything. But some Black men feel like that's their only way out. And so it's just like it was a poem, just me addressing like there's other ways, you can still be yourself and flourish and thrive and whatever you might want to do. You don't have to be, you don't have to settle. You don't have to listen to what society might say is even what's painted, because even what's painted in social media is like most of our people, we either doing entertainment or we doing sports. And at least in the limelight, because that's definitely not always the truth. There are people are everywhere. But at least what's painted in the media is that most of our people just do that. So, it was just kind of addressing little things like that. And, yeah, it goes on and on. I can go on forever.
And if you when you think about your peers today and the direction that they may be going in, and I'm not talking about just when I want to be a broader perspective of peers, not not necessarily those who are close to you, because you kind of know what your peers close to you are thinking. You're probably thinking some of the similar things, but overall, when you look at your peer group, I mean, you feel like they're, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush because, are they going in? Are you happy with the direction
that they're going in?
That you see young people going in?
Generation.
Yeah, this generation. Do you see? Are you happy with it in the direction that they're going? Do you think everybody is getting a fair share, or is it the society that's not giving them opportunities, or they're not taking advantage of those opportunities given?
It might be a bit of both. I will say from when I was doing that poem, I did kind of have a little like not anti-society, but on some like I was disappointed in it. Like you were talking about how I said like I hate my generation back then. I don't really feel that way anymore. I do think our generation, there are parts where like we need to work on and we need to listen and like educate ourselves. But I do feel like at least my generation, like early 20s, like yeah, just young adults right now. I do feel like we're doing a pretty good job in regards to keeping ourselves, and like we're the new adults now. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel we do pretty well in that area. I see a lot of our people out here, even in the sense of like fighting for what's right, like during the riots, the during 2020, because that was a crazy year. I saw people my age out at the riots and out, for the walks, just trying to really make a difference and things like that. I saw young people speaking out for good causes and trying to make sure our people are treated okay. I know plenty of people who are actual activists who are my age or younger than me, so I see both sides now, which is why I can't say I hate this generation anymore. I just feel like I don't resonate with that thought anymore. But I obviously do feel like, on the other side, there's a side of my people who of our generation who really understand what's going on around them. But there are also just another side that needs to be educated and just enlightened on what's going on around them and how they can either change it or how they can even like change themselves, because they might be a product of the society that they're in. Not everybody realizes that until they're older or until they're super old. What like they become a product of their environment. So it's just little things like that I feel like our generation could learn and grow from. But other than that, I feel like our generation is doing the best they can, at least for what it's been given. We've been through a couple crazy historical events in the past decade, so you know, for sure, for sure. So I think we're doing decently. Is what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you just really want the best for, because sometimes you can, when we look at what's being shown to us, the messaging that we see, whether it be on radio, television, images that we see, particularly of young black males, females, in regards to teen pregnancy, drug abuse, all those things, gang violence, all those kinds of things seem to be what we see a lot of, but it may not necessarily be as prevalent as we think.
Yeah, that's what I agree with. Yeah, I think it's definitely something that exists. It's something that's a truth, and it's something a truth, a truth for many. But I don't think it's as prevalent as people realize. I do feel like there are a good portion of my generation who are leading the right path, or making a new path for even the younger generation. And I am, the what is it, Gen Z or Gen, I forgot the generation after that, but the iPad kids, quote unquote. But just trying to make a better path for them as well. So I like I said, I do think it's half and half.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Trees, you got a question? I know you got a question over you thinking.
Oh, for this amazing young man, first of all, I have to say, my level of being proud of him went over it jumped out the window. Like when he was up there yesterday, I felt like his mom was videotaping and I was videotaping. And I was like, yo, I probably got her in my video, she probably got me in hers. When they're like our children, and you see them growing up, and he and Keji and Christine and Aaron, of course, Aaron's my other baby, and his brother. I would have to say, you are, a cousin, a brother, and you're an inspiration. But it's one thing for us as adults to hear you speaking like this, and we go, wow, he's such a nice young man. What do other young people say when they're around you? Do they feel that same level of inspiration? Do they look up to you? Do they, or do they challenge your thoughts and your views?
I see all three. I feel like I know a lot of different type of people. At least in the past like 5-6 years, I've gotten the experience of just like being able to meet all types of people in different situations and different lifestyles. So I've seen all three. I've seen people on my level who will understand where I'm coming from and my thought process and how I live. I've seen people who are, I'm looking up to, like, wow, like, you have something really beautiful going on for yourself, and I like the way you think. And I also know people who, might be quote unquote under me and might, not understand, like, sorry, where I'm coming from in certain areas, or, just might not resonate with what I'm talking about yet. Um, but I just learned in all areas just to continue to stick to what I know, who I am, and grow from it. So I'll enlighten the people who need to be enlightened if they need, and if they're willing to accept, and if not, they grow and they're ready to grow. I don't force anything on anybody. I'm not even a super big preachy guy, to be honest. It's really mostly in the art, but when the conversations do, you know, arise, I definitely mention some of the things, I mentioned. If they agree with it, they'll show that, and I can always tell when someone's like on the same, like, I guess, quote unquote frequency as me, and when they're not, and when they might get something, or when, like, it's best to just leave that. They're not, they might not be ready for that conversation yet. So yeah, like I said, I do think I've seen um all of those types of people around me. So I just move accordingly, I guess, is what I was saying.
Yeah. And it was interesting, being in the world, whether it be business, at what we consider higher levels of career opportunities. Every level that you get to, there's always challenges, there's always tests. And one of the things I can tell you, as a former professional athlete, I mean, and someone holding, who grew up in faith, right? And then it was kind of a little bit easier for me in regards to faith and athletics, because whether I was a Christian or not, I'm still going to get paid. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to act a certain way to get paid. All I do is play basketball. And then I think about some other friends of mine, like Denzel Washington, whose father was a preacher. Growing up, his father was a preacher, and his mother a faith person, and doing in the business he's in, where sometimes you have to act like, you have to play parts that maybe not appealing to somebody who's in faith. And then he introduced me to another guy, Curtis Martin, who was a Hall of Fame football player, right? Who introduced me to Pastor A.R. Bernard, who hosted a weekly Bible study for people in the industry, people in entertainment, according to it's not according to popular demand, but there are people who are in the industry, whether they be in entertainment, sports, right, who really love God, but sometimes we don't like the business that they're in. When you maybe want to be in the business for God, but the resources are not there, right? And this was a question that we were in there with Bible study with Pastor A.R. Bernard. That had a number of people in there, Star Jones, NBA players, people in the media industry. I think it was Michelle from Destiny's Child, Nia Long. I mean, it was a lot of different entertainers in there, because they're in a business that doesn't necessarily project God.
Yeah, I understand.
Right, but that's how they make their living. Right, that's how they make their living. But yet they were there at the Bible study trying to learn more about God. Right,
and he was so good because he didn't cast judgment on them. He gave them everything they needed to know about who the Lord was and understanding who they were, at some point, what He was giving them would cause them to make a decision about their lives. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, before DMX died, he had DMX come over to his church.
Yeah,
And
DMX,
share a word.
Jadakiss. I mean,
Mace, was it Mace? I think Mace.
Mace, Jadakiss, all them. You know, Star. What's the other young rapper? Young lady. But it was a lot of people in there.
Brown.
Foxy Brown, yeah. So we're in this room and where everybody who they believe God, they I think they love God, but the the nature of their career was not projecting, God, and they were battling with it. Right? They were battling with it. You ever find yourself like, as you're in this industry, right, and you're trying to inspire people, right? Do you feel some of that?
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. I do, and so I've had a conflict definitely. But what I've learned over the years, is it's about the intention, I feel, and um, what you're putting that energy towards. So in what I do, obviously not everything is faith based, God based, which I understand that. However, I do make it a note and a very big thing for me to keep my relationship with God as strong as possible, in going into different realms and going into the industry, because it can get crazy. You gotta make sure you have, you have that foundation, let God be that foundation. I've had the conflict, but I recognize it, especially in everything I do. I DJ parties, I do all types of all types of stuff in the industry. So I just feel like, as long as you come back to God, I feel like that is the most important thing, and what you're redirecting that energy, whether you're doing your performance or everything. At the end of the day, like, this is because of God that I'm here. So you're always making sure you're grateful to God for these opportunities, because I wouldn't even be in this position. DMX wouldn't be in that position, or Jadakiss or whatever big entertainer wouldn't be in that position without God as well. So I think they recognize that, and that's why they made that decision to go to Bible study, or to want to have that stronger relationship with Him. As to give thanks and be grateful, and to continue to elevate themselves. And through God as well. And might even have a bigger elevation. With that recognition of, God is the reason I'm here, so I need to have a little more of a relationship with Him, or be more in tune, at least, to the best of your ability.
But
But yeah, but I
you attend a very powerfully connected church these days, right?
yeah,
Your pastor is all over the world, representing a lot of people, and he cultivates gifts.
Mm-hmm.
He's a gift cultivator, and I've always loved that about him, seeing the vision and the light in the eyes of the young people and the members, and he cultivates that. And so that's and I know he's really busy and he's all over the world, but I know that he also has people that are there to kind of guide those dreams and those visions. And I used to tell people all the time that there are some people that are visionaries, right? And they vision things. And you have some people, I call them dictionaries, right? They talk about it, And then there's some people that are actionaries. They take the vision and the talking and they do something with it. And I see Apostle is all three. He's a visionary. He can talk. He can see it, talk about it, and he actually does it. But he also sets it up so that his members do it. So you're under a good. You have a foundation, and then you have a direction. That you can really go in with the love that they have for their membership.
Yeah, and also it's challenging too, because regardless, I like to say it like this: regardless of whether the entertainment, right, is faith based or non-faith based, right, there's still a temptation in it. I mean, I'm seeing people who are in an industry that's not faith based, right, down the road, make a a totally different change. And I've seen people who are faith based make a totally different change,
That's true.
right? The tests and challenges are still there, regardless of whether you're in a faith based situation or not a faith based situation, right? It's just, like you say, sometimes I'm in these spheres of influence, right? And I'm doing my thing inside of it. Like I was doing my thing inside that. But I believe like I was able to help a lot of people, right, who was doing crazy stuff. You,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And if I wasn't there or somebody else who had that strong foundation in faith, right, to encourage them, it could have taken bad turns. So sometimes we got to go in that sphere of influence, and we got to have an impact in it when we're in there.
I definitely agree. Yeah, I mean, there's what there are artists who what didn't Kanye. Well, I mean, he's definitely changed a lot, but in his older days, Jesus Walks Kanye. I remember he used to go to the jail and preach and rap to the jailmates. And try to help them, change their lives and their perspectives. That's just one example. There's plenty of other people who do that, even pastors and preachers and whatever type of realm. But I do think it's important to step into realms outside of your own, even if it's not faith based per se. To show what you do and show how you can help those people as well. And bring them towards a better future, better life, better mindset. Any little thing that can help their situation a little bit. So I definitely agree. That's a important thing.
Career wise, what are you doing now?
Right now, I'm trying to be a full-time artist entertainer. Obviously, I have side jobs on the side. I do maintenance at the moment. But I'm really leading up to becoming like a full mogul. Like I said, I'm an artist. I DJ as well. I just started DJing in March, but it's been picking up a lot since March. So I'm very grateful and just want to see where that journey takes me. And I'm grateful for God for that picking up. I want to be able to put out the book. So I just want to be able to have all my talents and push them to a point where, I'm having multiple forms of income, on a financial side, that's important, so I can grow. Um, and yeah, just
You
be the
could
full
think
fledged.
and grow rich.
Yeah, Think and Grow. She said Think and Grow Rich.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was my book, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah.
yeah, I gotta read that one for sure. But yeah, just trying to elevate myself to be the best like possible artist I can be. Because once I'm able to get to the point where I want to, I know I'll be sitting really really nice, comfortably. I'll have a foundation and I'll be able to elevate and shoot up from there. So yeah, that's where I'm going right now. It takes time, it isn't an overnight process. It doesn't happen like that. You have to put the work in, you have to put the effort in, you got to make smart moves. And so that I'm just in that process right now. But I've been growing little by little, and people do see the progress. I get a lot of people who know me from different areas of my life who tell me like they're proud of me and just to keep going and that they see me doing this, that, and the third, and so it does give me hope and faith, that God leaving me on the right path right now, and I just got to keep going, keep pushing.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. Man, that's good. Yeah, I'm excited. So you got the book. You're thinking about the book in 2025.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that for sure.
Okay. What else? 2020, you got a book.
Oh well, lots of things. Not just the book, but on a overall note, I want to put out a book. I want to launch my website next year. So like people have like a direct like link to everything I do. And I could like really build my own brand, just not just on Instagram, but I feel like once you get the website, that's like the real first big step. So I want to launch my website. I haven't been on a break from dropping music, but just getting life together right now. So I plan to really be consistently dropping music again next year, as well, and putting out music videos and doing bigger shows. And I want to travel. I want to be able to perform outside of New York and just really explore the world and see what it has for me. So I definitely plan to be doing, hopefully I could tour next year. That would be great. So that's like one of my goals for next year as well. Yeah, and just the artistry, see where the DJing thing takes me. Um, See where photography takes me. I'm a photographer as well. So just see where all my talents, my God given talents could take me. Um, and yeah, that's the goal right now.
And if if you had to say something to some of the young people today that kind of stuck. I mean, pandemic put people in a position where they just stopped moving. You
Yeah.
know, they struggled academically because this first time we were you were starting to learn from a computer. The teachers on the computer or on the
Yeah.
laptop talking to you, and first of all, we were struggling with the teacher in front of us. I mean, now the teacher's on the screen, and I could get up and I could mute us, and so I think everybody's trying to reestablish themselves in regards to work, what it is to actually get out and work. And what would you say to young people that you feel because of the pandemic and all things that have happened that find themselves stuck? What would you say to them? To a young
Um,
person who's stuck, who's struggling. What would you say?
I would say, at one, like, remember why you started what you started. Like, go back to that passion in whatever you do, and remember the reason that you were doing what you do. And you should, at least around the time when like the ban was just lifted, like, I saw people being creative and approaching new ways to, um, approach some of the plans and endeavors they had. So, I feel like in this time from like 2021 to now, I feel like this is a time for people to try new things and be creative and really just, you know, see, show what they can really do, show what type of thought processes and mindsets they can really use in order to elevate themselves. And just don't give up. Like I said, I feel like if you have enough passion and love for something, you could do it no matter what it is. You can make it happen. You just have to put in the work, and you have to have the correct um, mindset for it, and you gotta manifest as well. So just continue to
What was that word again?
manifest.
Yeah,
Manifest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. People
Super
need to know
important.
that word right there.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't know. They don't know
manifestation.
what that word means. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's a big thing for me. You gotta think your dreams into reality. And then you gotta work for those dreams right after. So if you got those two, you could do whatever you want. So that's what I believe. So I'm just gonna continue to attest to that, and see where that takes me.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
The 5 year question. That's that's
hey,
that's
that's
very
every business question.
yeah, that's a good question. Um, that's around. I'll be 30 then, which is a crazy thing to say. That scares me a little bit. But I think in 5 years, I would have hoped to definitely have established myself in the industry by now. At least I would definitely at least have my book out, maybe a second book out. I definitely plan to at least have a couple projects and albums out musically. Um, yeah, I would have hoped to have gotten to a certain place in my artistry where I'm like, you know what, I feel really good. Like I've done great things. I want to continue to see where else it could take me, but I've really achieved a lot. And so that would be my goal for the next 5 years to make that happen. I want to be able to uh buy my mama a house, apartment, whatever she want. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to do that. And have my own place as well. But I want to be able to, have a place for my mom and my family. And just give back. Yeah, that's what I see myself. I just wanna. I see myself in a much bigger place as an artist and creator, and I see myself being able to provide for my family and even myself a lot more. But yeah.
What do you think about when you think about the this entertainment music industry? What's your thoughts on the industry itself in regards to your ability to grow faster? right? Your ability to get more opportunities as an African American male in this business opportunity.
Well, I feel like in the industry, I have a love and hate relationship with it. I feel like it can get very saturated, at times, and at least on the surface, I feel like everything under it is really where the gems are, and we're trying to push the gems up. But on the surface, everything is very saturated, and sometimes it doesn't feel like we even have like a place to fit in the industry sometimes. But I don't agree with that. I feel like there's a way. There's a place for all of us. What do they say? Like there's only room for a certain amount of people at the top. I disagree with that. I feel like there's plenty
Mm,
of space for a
I
lot of
like
us to
that.
be up there at the top. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about how we move and moving together. I'll talk about this with my people just about like even like a New York City thing. I feel like a lot of our people, like at least New York City based people, um, we always trying to jump on top of each other. Like if I can't let you make it because if you make it, then I can't make it. But that's not the case. So I just want people to know that like we all can make it. We all can get to where we want to be. In regards to the industry, it's possible. We can make our own lanes. You don't have to go to a certain lane that somebody else did. Um, and yeah, we could create our own resources for ourselves. That's what I feel. So I think you could finesse the industry, quote unquote. You can,
yeah,
is what I feel like you can achieve if you really, think smart.
right.
Smart.
I think Monica just said something that I thought was so important. She said, well, she said, so I'm proud, so proud.
Thank you. Oh,
May
thank
all
you. I just see it
your
in the
goals and
comments.
dreams.
I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
and I don't that word right there.
Why?
Why? Remember your why.
And that's what he said when he
Yeah,
started talking. He
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Why did you get into it?"
yeah. Why did you get into it?
Hmm.
And I ask people all the time because yes, when you think about sports, business, sports, arts and entertainment, right? You could think about like, hey, you know, what why did I get in? And also what three things, what God gave me this gift, right? I got this
Hmm.
gift. I'm in this industry, right? I'm gonna be rapping, writing, producing, all these different things.
Yeah.
And when you think overall globally about the industry, what three things would you change, right, in the industry? If you had
Okay.
the power,
I like that. I like that a lot.
what
Um,
three things would you I'm in there, I'm the man now, right? What three things would you help change?
um, let me see. I'm going step by step. Let me see if I could get it all together. But the one thing I definitely think I would change is just like the narrative of like what's popular, what's real talent, what's real skill, what's I guess what is quote unquote. I'm gonna speak on a music sense, but what's quote unquote good music. I feel like good music, especially with substance, and not that everything has to have substance. I like all types of music. I'm a DJ, but I do feel that certain music is only pushed up to like the mainstream light because of the messages. Like if you look at the mainstream music, everything is all negative, low frequency music, and like I said, I'm a DJ, so I dabble in whatever, but I feel like there needs to be space for these other um, subgenres of music and things like that that are very important that are actually taking off, but they're not pushing to the limelight, and you could easily be doing so. So we need to create space for the talent that is clearly here to be pushed up to the forefront. Or else it's going to be lost, and we're going to continue to get a lot of copy and paste art, and not like real, true, genuine art that should be pushed. So I would change just how what's pushed in the media and the music. I think everything could be pushed if we really pushed it correctly. But it's not pushed correctly. So That's one thing. A second thing I would change. I'm trying to think. This is a really good question. I like that question a lot. I might have to come back to you on that. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to really sit and think about that one. But that first one, I do really believe is true. I feel that there's so much. In my experience of doing shows, I've only been doing shows in the city for 2.5 years now, but I've just seen so much talent and just like unbelievable things, and it just blows my mind that these people are um, basically little to not known at all, living with their parents, and like it just don't make no sense to me. You should be up there, at the BET Awards right now,
Mm.
delivering your art, so it gives me a passion to really push, the real culture, quote unquote. um and just music and art that really matters. I just needs to be relevant again. So yeah, just as much as everything else. I appreciate everything, but that needs to be there, is what I think.
I would say one of the things, Lowe's, and I know this is my question, but the one thing that I think a lot of entertainers and artists are they're used to people cheering for them. They're used to people, you know, treating them a certain way. And when the gifting never goes, but the appreciation of the gift does. Right? So you're always got your gift, but everybody, sometimes the seasonal appreciation comes and people don't necessarily always understand what happens when people no longer cheer for you. They no longer, are with you in your gifting. And so learning how to self encourage and self motivate and to value. You said it in your other poem, right? Knowing your worth the other day, right?
Yeah.
You actually had and maybe those can close. I don't know if you still have that, but you talked about knowing what your worth is. And if you can internalize the value of your worth, regardless of whether people cheer for you,
Or
you will
not,
always
yeah.
be successful because you won't be basing who you are on other people's opinion of you.
Perception. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I love that actually. Yeah, I do agree with that. And in the industry, you face that a lot. Especially as like an upcoming artist, you're gonna face people not really caring about what you're doing. They might bully you. They might, whatever the case may be. So, I think these past few years I've grown a thick skin, in order to stay true to me and like know my worth, regardless if someone's cheering me on, or if literally no one in the room is paying attention, or if I'm promoting myself and this post gets 100 whatever, and then this post that I put my work into gets no attention at all, just continuing to be me. So yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I'm excited that because one of the things that and there's some people who can inspire you. The documentary on Tyler Perry. I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Tyler Perry.
No, I haven't seen it, but interesting.
Where I think his what's the name's Mama's Baby Boy. It's on. I think it may be on Netflix or one of those. And you see how he comes. How he comes out of, doing his little show, little plays and stuff like that, into this multi-billion-dollar industry that he's created. Now, one of the things that's a very powerful thing, but it's an island, right? And that's what happened, like in things on like Black Wall Street, as you start to grow as a community, and you're building as a community, and everybody's building wealth, right? Because we all have different gifts. Learning to collaborate, knowing that there's enough resources. You said it's enough resources,
Yeah,
right? And then it's enough limelight for everybody if we learn how to pool our resources,
100%. Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Yeah, and then how to build business. I think the real thing is, as we close here, is an understanding. There is. I remember when Sherelle was talking about what she was going to do when she graduated from high school or she was going to college. So she wanted to be a physical therapist. And I had knee surgery, and I went in and I was talking to the guy. My daughter wants to be a physical therapist. So he said, "Oh, have her come by." Right. And so I brought her by, and he said, "Yeah, go be a physical therapist, get your degree, your master's degree in physical therapist, but minor in business." Right. And he said, because so many people, right, can be a physical therapist, but they don't know how to manage business.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So if you're in this industry, part of this industry is entrepreneurship, is business development. How does business and economic development work? How do I build business? At the end of the day, you're going to be a great artist, right? But at the end of the day, if you can't build wealth,
yeah, it don't mean nothing. That's true.
Right. And so that's the thing that has killed folks all along. Guys making hundreds of millions of dollars in their basketball careers or their acting careers, and at the end of the day, they broke. Right? They die broke. Right? So business and
entertainment,
the gift and entertainment and finances go together. So as you growing in the industry, understand the business out of it. The negotiations, the contracts, all those kind of things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so. I've definitely touched base with it here. I've learned a little bit, definitely through. Oh, I see a comment. No, 100%. Yeah, I've definitely dabbled, and I've had some times where I've had to, learn firsthand. Because I really do wish I took business in college. I was one class. I was like, dang, I really should have took some classes. But I've learned from experience, at least like dealing with contracts with doing shows and just like, learning not to take any and every opportunity, because they might do you wrong, or they might be trying to use you, your art, so I definitely see the scams and here and there, and what might not be trustworthy, and what might actually be a genuine opportunity for you to, develop yourself, and so yeah, I'm still learning here and there, but that's 100% true. If you don't know this business, you will get turned out. It's not gonna be good.
So, yeah. So Ameer, I want to say thank you, man. Appreciate you for coming on, popping on with me, man. Great discussion tonight. Yeah, definitely gonna help. You're gonna help a lot of people, man. We're expecting the ripple effect of this. Keep up the good work. If we can be helpful to you, don't hesitate to reach out. All right.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. So hold on for a second. I'm gonna close out.
Got it.
So again, I want to say thank you for your support of the Blueprint Podcast each and every week, man. I love you guys, man. This is awesome. Tune in next week, man, as Tony Centron, who's a drummer and percussionist, is going to be on, man. He got some real gifts. And if you're not doing anything on, I think it's 6:30 at Lincoln Center, he's going to be out there playing for an amazing artist out there. I think it's like 6:30 at Lincoln Center. And then following him, Jeff Dixon, manager of Ludacris, a longtime friend and manager of Ludacris, will be on. We'll discuss his life and his journey. And so I love you guys, man. I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you, man. And I say each and every week, if you wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke, I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.